And for another Real Life Game Changers. This is where we are scouring the planet looking for the people who have changed the game in their own right. And today we're going to be discussing the all important subject of not only just business, not all going into the millions, but also marketing, and the ins and outs of it, why people may do it or may not do it. So let's get this shared, shall we? While we get some people to jump on. Oh, you know what I did, Jez? I forgot to actually say we got some prizes we're going to be giving away today. Yeah, we got some prizes.
Amazing.
Yeah, and you're going to be selecting the winner. Here we go. So
No pressure from me.
yeah, no pressure. Oh, you don't worry. All you have to do is pick a number. Yeah, so hey, here we go. Got some people jumping on. So let us know if you put hashtag live if you're watching this live, put hashtag replay if you're watching on the replay. Reason being, if you put replay and you ask a question, we know that obviously we have to get to your question because you weren't here live and we probably didn't answer it. So hit the share button. You're going to be in for a chance for winning up to £4,000 worth of one-on-one coaching. This is like, insane. Yeah, to be coming with a chance for that, though, you got to hit the share button. Let us know you shared it. We'll give you a shout out. And then you got to tag at least 20 people. Now, if you're in our real life tribe, you've got to tag at least 10 of those outside of the community. Let's give some more people some interesting topics to discuss. So, Jez, thanks for coming on. As you can see, guys, Jez is into marketing, is into business, done over £40 million worth of property deals, sourcing this to the amazing investors that are out there. I've got over 100,000 followers on social media. So, Jez, thanks for coming on, first of all.
Thanks for having me. It's really great to be spending my Monday evening with you.
Nice, good. And listen, just so people know what questions to ask and we can get into the thick of it, give us the highlight reel of Jez. What was Jez like growing up and how did you end up doing what it is that you're doing today?
So I grew up in Essex, so don't hold that against me. Grew up in a single parent family, actually. Wasn't always easy kind of growing up, and had sort of a lot of, I suppose, financial worries when we were, was growing up. So I wonder whether that's actually had an impact on, me being a sort of entrepreneur and trying to find my own way. I've always been into business, did business at university, then went on to work in the corporate sectors and charity sectors, working with people like Deloitte, Vodafone, Deutsche Bank, and really getting some great experience there, seeing inside those big companies, but whilst also working for charities and actually, making an impact on the world. Then I'm kind of got itchy feet, and then sort of started thinking about what I could do, and I've always been very entrepreneurial and creative, and actually pivoted into sort of working in hospitality, had my own hospitality business for a while, then went into working with other people. Came out of that experience having worked for a company in hospitality for like a couple of years, really burnt out, and kind of I'd had enough. I was exhausted mentally and physically, and probably a bit of a low point in my life, and was feeling quite lost and quite unhappy, and decided to leave that job. And it was the first time in my life that I didn't, have a job, and that kind of, I suppose, uncertainty and unemployment was quite scary at the time. And I ended up going to India to have a bit of a recharge. A bit of a cliche, I know, but spent 4 weeks out there and read a couple of pivotal books which really have changed my life. So I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I read 4 Hour Work Week, and those books really gave me a sort of new sense of the world, opened my eyes to these concepts which I felt possibly I'd been missing, and really inspired me to firstly know that, given that I'd worked for people, the whole of my kind of life, and exchanging my time for money, I realized at that point I needed to go out on my own and actually fulfill this entrepreneurial kind of drive that I had, but also that I needed to start creating passive income streams. And Rich Dad Poor Dad particularly inspired me to think about personal finance completely differently and turn my world upside down. So that's when I got into property, started investing myself, actually went all in. I actually sold my flat, my home, because he says in Rich Dad Poor Dad, your residential home is not an asset, it's a liability. So I went all in. I rolled all the chips and all the dices and sold that and invested the money I now rent. And then I met my business partner Daniel Duffield online on a property forum, and kind of went from there. And we've been in business together 4 years now. We have 12 staff. We've sourced over 40 million pounds of property for our clients. We have 100,000 followers across all of our social media channels. We've just launched our new YouTube channel, which is really exciting to be growing. And now I've got a completely different life. I'm able to work when I want, work remotely. And I do have those passive income streams, which are benefiting me now, but I know will benefit me hugely in the future as well. And create a legacy for my family. So that moment of difficulty and hardship, I suppose, and challenge when I lost that job was perhaps one of the best things that's happened to me.
Yeah, good. Thanks for bringing us up to speed today. Plenty to talk about there. Let's just hone in on it. Like you talked about, reading the books. Now, I think people in life, they have different things that come up. Like sometimes tragedy, sometimes desperation, sometimes inspiration. More desperation than inspiration, at least from what I've seen. Yeah, and then they get a couple of insights. Yeah, I'm interested. What was the main thing that struck you and was like, whoa, I got to do things differently?
Probably two things, one from each book. One was the view of personal finance that I mentioned in Rich Dad Poor Dad, viewing debt differently and viewing assets and liabilities differently. So that whole concept of that we've always been taught that you own a property, you own a car, you own, I don't know, a watch, and they're all assets. In fact, they're not by his definition, because the only thing that is an asset is something that brings you income. So it's a very simple concept in some ways, but it goes against completely what we've been taught throughout all of our lives in terms of finance. And then secondly, I would say about passive income. Both books talk about passive income and how important it is in order to it to be an enabler to give you the life that you want, because that's what it's all about. It's not just actually about getting rich, because money is an enabler. It gives you choices and it opens doors for you and allows you to make different decisions. And I think that was the point of me at the time where I was in my life, that I felt I didn't have many choices, and I probably felt quite lost and disenfranchised with the lack of different options that I had. But I saw through passive income that it gives you the option to create the life that you want. And that's what he talks about in 4-Hour Workweek. Is he talks about lifestyle design through having passive income. So having that passive income and then allows you to say, I'm going to work abroad for 6 months, or I'm not going to work. I'm going to travel around, the West Indies on a yacht. But that's up to you, and it's creating the life that you want because you've got that financial freedom, because you've got that foundation of passive income. So those two books very much complemented each other, and it wasn't it was very much by chance that I read both of those. I think a friend recommended Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then I can't remember how I stumbled across Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Workweek, but they were exactly what I needed at that time. It's funny how that happens sometimes as well, isn't it? Like you get a book or a piece of content that actually is what you need to hear at that point in time.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. I mean, I'm in the middle of moving. You wouldn't know. half my library is already gone. But some of the books I look and I'm like, I don't even remember how I got that. Like, why would I even select that? But like, sometimes they just show up. But here's an interesting concept, because a lot of people, they talk about Rich Dad Poor Dad. I had the pleasure of sharing the stage with him back in 2021, and he like, the concept is a no-brainer, but I think people view it differently. Now, you know this thing about passive income, like the most common definition of passive income, and you can put it in the chat. What's your, or the comments, guys? Put it in there. What's your definition of passive income? You know, because the most common one I see and I hear is that when you get your passive income more than your living expenses, yeah, that's when you're supposed to have like financial freedom. Yeah, so let's explore this. Let's see who might want to ask some questions. I want to get your view on it as well, just because, the whole want to break free. Well, like, let's say, I don't know, maybe passive income needs to be 2K. I mean, these days you ask people and like, I need to earn 5 grand a month. And Jesus, man, what are you doing? You need 5 grand for what? Yeah, but anyway, whatever it is, let's say to get to that figure, and now they're like, I like to call it recurring income. Yeah, so the recurring income is now more than the lifestyle, more than the current lifestyle. But now you're trapped again in that current lifestyle, in my opinion. So my definition of financial freedom is like, what size money problem are you able to solve, or what size money problem am I able to solve? That's your level of freedom. So if I can earn a 30K a year problem, then that's all the level of freedom I have. If I can solve a 30K a day problem, yeah, or 100K a day, or what if I can solve a £1 million money problem? What if I can solve a £100 million money problem? I think that, for me, determines the level of freedom somebody has. It's like, what size money problem can you solve? But what do you think about that, and the contrast between this whole theory of passive income?
Well, I'd firstly say that there's obviously levels of passive income which need to be, I suppose, acknowledged. That it's, particularly at the beginning, it's very difficult to actually get a true passive income. But also, what I would say is that I think, and obviously we work with a lot of clients, and obviously we are essentially, I suppose, a service for people looking to get a passive income, because we're looking for people that use our services actually don't want to be doing the running around themselves. So, but what I would say is that that's got to be acknowledged, that there is a cost to passive income, because essentially someone has got to do the work somewhere. So therefore, someone needs to be paying for that service. So yeah, you can do lots of things yourself, like you can invest in property yourself, but again, ultimately you're exchanging time for money. So there has to be an acknowledgement that actually, to be passive, someone has got to be outsourced essentially to do that work, and therefore there is going to be a cost to the person involved, the beneficiary of that, in order for them to get their time back. But not everyone necessarily sees it like that. I think people feel that they can achieve passive income without any sort of additional costs, if you get what I mean. In terms of answering your question about the levels of passive income, yeah, I mean, what I would say is that I think this whole concept around money and what people try and strive for, a lot of it is potentially around, some of it's status and ego, and some of it is probably an internal driver that we might have got from childhood, that actually we need to achieve a certain level of income, because it makes us feel kind of worthy, and our self-worth is wrapped up in that income. So the point I'm making here is, I think you've got to be careful in terms of looking to say, yeah, I'm going to earn £1 million passive income next year, and it is doable. But my question would be, why do you want to do that? Are you looking, is there a reason for that, or is that just a great number to look at? Why do you need that £1 million passive income, for example? Or is it just your ego getting wrapped up, and actually would, 100,000 be okay? Because there is that study, which is a great study, and I think they probably changed the figures now, but they say that there's no uplift in happiness above something like $78,000. There was a study done, and I can't remember where the study was done, but it was an American study.
Yeah.
So
Who they interviewing? People doing shit they don't like,
I don't know.
Yeah, so that's the interesting part. You know what I love about this whole thing about money is because I grew up broke too. My mum used to go to the toilet in the dark thinking she's saving money on electricity. She
Wow.
used to like re-wash sandwich bags and hang them out to dry, like upside down, like 20p for like 50 bags or whatever back then, and she's still recycling them. Yeah, so I know what being broke is like. But when I had the drive for money, like at one point when I kind of got the taste for it, I ripped my own dad off. I started off paying him less money, for a job that I had got, because now I felt like I'm in control and I need more money. I need to do it like this and so on. So like people are going to be careful if they, like you say, going out for the money. Like, I want to make 1 million. Why do I want to make 1 million? I think it's not the amount of money; it's the way you're making the money. That's what I feel about it. Because let me ask everybody listening. What would you rather do? Would you rather have? And this might be a hard question. Would you rather bank 5K a month doing what you freaking love, like you love it, yeah, or would you rather have, I don't know, let's say 10 grand a month, double, yeah, doing something that's like a hustle and a grind for you? Which one? What would you do, Jez? How do you position yourself and your business, like, and how do you drive? What drives you?
I think I'll definitely take the 5K, by the way, in answer to your question, because I think, I lost my dad when I was 25, and I lost my grandparents a couple of years ago in quick succession. Like, they died within 4 weeks of each other. And every time, I lose someone close, it really teaches me that life's too short. And that means that I have to be maximizing the experiences of life. That is my driver. So coming back round to, I suppose, the business, is I'm looking to create a life where it's all about experiences for myself and for my family, and that's what is driving me, like, personally speaking, to create a business where I can eventually, we're not there yet, but eventually start doing lots of other, I suppose, projects, and maybe run other businesses as well, but because that's what I really enjoy doing. And it's kind of like that experiential thing of, because I'm quite creative, so having my sort of toes in lots of different projects and working with great people is something I really enjoy. And that's what's personally kind of driving me. And it's all about the great experiences and the memories, whether that's in the workplace or whether that's outside of it. And what also drives me is, and this is related to what we're trying to do, is making an impact on people and making a positive impact on people. And our kind of ethos as a company is to make a positive impact on people, whether that's our clients and helping them to reach their financial freedom goals, or whether that's our guests in our service accommodation properties and giving them a great experience and high quality experience, or whether that's our tenants. And everything that we do is based on that premise of essentially high quality experiences and high quality, I suppose, impact for us as a whole business. And that's why I've just started my podcast as well, is because that is all about business failure and telling the lessons of business failures and challenges and setbacks that come up, because there's not enough messaging out around in the world about that. It's all about success, but I feel that we can learn more from failure than we can from success. And that is, that podcast is about, because sharing stories of people that have great insights from the failures that they've overcame, the kind of podcast that I want to listen to, but with the whole premise of helping other business owners, business leaders, entrepreneurs to actually learn and develop themselves and improve themselves from that learning around failure. So again, help making a positive impact on their lives through that podcast. So yeah, that those are the things that kind of drive me.
Nice. I love it. What's interesting, I asked the question, a lot of people saying I want to make the 5K. One thing I learned through the journey of personal development is never to decide either or. Find a way to make the 10K from doing what you love instead. But one of the biggest things, because I've not been scared of hard work, and I know from speaking to you already, you've not been scared of hard work either. But the great thing about real estate, which is both of our primary businesses, is like I made more money from real estate than anything else I've ever done. No matter how much time, effort, energy I put into any other of these things in the IT industry, software, construction, training company, all of that stuff. Like property is what's yielded the best returns. But one thing of the best things about it is like the more work you put in, and the more it can grow. You can keep putting work in and it grows even more. So like this is all about using business and real estate to empower people's lives, which is now they can create income, and there is an industry like real estate. And some people are like, yeah, but I don't like it and I'm not into it. And that's the great thing about it as well. You don't have to be, because you could be totally hands off, use people like yourself to find the deals, use people to manage the deals, use people to run the show. Just need to have someone, or you just need to have the, business acumen, or even you could hire someone to do that as well. To passive income. And then, because, let's say, I don't know, maybe you love pottery. I mean, there may be a way to become a multi-millionaire from pottery, making it. Maybe there is. Yeah, but I think it's probably, the select few. So one thing about real estate is, and like what you said, is creating these vehicles is like then people can do what they love and not really worry about how much money.
Exactly.
Maybe you want to be a tennis coach and get paid 30 an hour, which by the way ain't that bad compared to some people, but still it's not going to make you rich, is it? But like, you could be the tennis coach or be the football coach or be a football referee and get paid, I don't know, how much you get paid these days? 40 quid for reffing a match or something?
No idea, actually. Well, probably not enough to be shouted at for 90 minutes, but
yeah, but maybe you love that, but then your vehicle is making the other money. So tell us about marketing, Jess, because like what is it about marketing that people are doing? What is it about? What are they not doing, or what should people be doing?
I think with marketing, what people aren't doing, and I'm also a mentor at a property training company, and I speak to a lot of people there and speak a lot about people building their personal brands and doing marketing. And I think that firstly people are scared. I think people get scared to start, and they procrastinate too much. They worry about what people are going to think, particularly maybe their friends and family that not sure if they know that they're getting into property, for example. So I think people are definitely scared to get going, and they overthink it, and they overthink everything that they're doing and the content they're producing, and that means that they don't normally start. So I think that's one issue, really. And related to that, I think they also post the wrong content sometimes. They post safe content, so they will just post a picture of themselves, with viewing a property today, But actually, that's not the real lesson. There will be some lessons in there, in that viewing, for example, that they could share and jump on a video and talk about. So there's definitely a lot of fear there. And that means that people often procrastinate and don't normally get started. I would say the other thing is that if people do start, they don't post enough. They don't generate.
What is enough, Jess? Because there's always controversy over there.
Absolutely.
People say, "Oh, you're posting too much, quality over quantity," and it just sets people off on a turn, turning which way they don't know.
I would say, and I've heard a lot of people say this, like that are, far sort of above me in business, is that if you're not pissing some people off from the amount of content that you're producing, you're not producing enough content. And that whole thing that you see people do really well, which is that omnipresence thing, like they feel like they're everywhere. That's from posting content consistently and numerous times a day across numerous platforms. So the person I think at the moment who's doing it, but that's obviously because I'm following him and I'm a big fan of what he does, but it's Stephen Bartlett. He literally feels like he's everywhere at the moment, and he's posting, I would say, at least 3 or 4, probably more than that, pieces of content himself on all of his channels. But then obviously there's other people talking about him as well from various things that he's collaborating on and partnering on. And in order to get that omnipresence, Gary V is the same. Gary V, but that's his whole Gary Vaynerchuk's whole model is around omnipresence and essentially creating as much content as you can and posting it every single day.
Do you think people worry about like whether people like it, or if they see Gary V getting, I don't know, 50,000, 100,000 views, and they get like, I don't know, 300, 200, whatever. Do you think that affects people?
I think it does, and you obviously always, and it's we all do it, right? We all compare ourselves to other people, and it's the worst thing that social media has brought about how much that's accelerated that comparison that we all have, and that tendency of us all to compare each other to other people is being exacerbated by social media. And you get it all the time in this context, people comparing themselves to other people in terms of social media presence marketing. But the problem is that they're comparing themselves to people who are potentially 10, 20 years ahead of them. But also in terms of this example we're talking about as well, you've got to look at it from a relative point of view, because Gary V, for example, on his Instagram's got 10 million followers. So if he gets 50,000 views, you've got to work out the percentages, because that's probably not actually that much. But if you've got 500 followers and you're reaching 200, that's actually pretty good conversion. And that's the way you got to look at it as well. It's looking at those, I suppose, the data and those everything relatively.
But then what's the real reason behind all of that anyway? Like, are people these days just doing it to say, I've got this many followers, I've got this many views? Like, what do you think the whole kind of psychology behind that is for people?
Yeah, of course, there's going to be some status in it for some people. And obviously there's lots of people out there now calling themselves influencers. And that has become I suppose, a fairly legitimate job for some people. They just earn an income from social media content and get loads of passive income.
By the way, everybody in property should be an influencer for tax purposes.
Okay.
And that's it. Oh yeah, because influencer, that brings a whole new realm of different research, development, expense, all of these different things. Yeah. Rather than just property, business expenses, like an influencer now is like it's a tax bracket, so to say, or it's like a sector.
Yeah.
So like, and again, I think that's amazing. I just want to. We were talking about this just before we went live, right? Let me see if I can find it again. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, there you go. Yeah. So, what about stuff like this? Do you think this? Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think of this. So, I was just telling Jez before. I said I wrote this post to say, yeah, we bought a property, 154k, but it was valued at 175, and our prop valve. We thought it was going to be 420. We thought, yeah, 420 is a good thing once we turn it into a 6-bed HMO, where the prop valve actually comes back at 335. So I kind of just screenshotted the part of the email, which is obviously I don't want to send my guys' details out there and all the rest of it. And one guy comments and he says, anyone can write a message and screenshot it. And he put four question mark asking like, what's the source of it? You know, do you think this is, one of the things, by the way, we'll show everyone who it is. Look, there's this guy. I don't even know this guy's name, yeah. So do you think this is the kind of thing that stops people? By the way, guys, do you fear this happening to your posts? Like, let us know in the comments.
Absolutely. I mean, people will be. They are scared of. No one likes negativity, right? No one likes haters, and that will definitely be putting people off. I would also it's just funny, isn't it? Some people on social media do have far too much time on their hands, but also there's a lot of bitter people on social media as well, isn't there? Jealous people, I think. But yeah, it will put people off. But what I would say, back to what I said earlier, it's going to come with the territory. If you are getting a certain level of following on social media, that you will start to get negativity, and you'll start to get random shitty comments like that and haters. And actually, again, what people that I look up to and are far ahead of me in business say, that actually you are doing something right if you get haters online, because it means you're getting a level of reach to then bring those people, because those people are probably outside of your sort of sphere. And actually, it's kind of a good thing, because it means you're reaching more mainstream audiences.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it is. I mean, I look at this one, so look, here's the thing, guys. I'll just listen. I'm totally transparent, Jez. I know we're only just kind of talking for the first time, right? Into any depth. But, like most of the people who know me from our real life community, I'm just transparent. Yeah. So look, this only got 34 likes. So you could look at it and say, what a piece of crap that is. Why did that? Or you could look at something else and say, well, hold on, it's only got 2 likes. Yeah, but it says it's reached 16,500 people.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so some people, they must be looking at it. Yeah. But the question is, what would you do for some people like this? People are saying we need haters, just the fear of rejection, all the rest of it. What I like to do, Jess, I took on this strategy after, being exposed to the cold stuff. What's his name? Burgo. Let's ask Burgo. Hey, Burgo, I've got Jez here. Jez, you got a message for Burgo?
Oh, hi. I would say, I hope you're having a good day, and I hope you're having a kind of good October, because you've got to believe in what you sort of read, and yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I just reply with a video, and normally, like, it just either they carry on and it's funny, yeah, or they just think, oh shit, it's a real person now, because like there's a sort of keyboard warrior syndrome.
100%. Yeah. It's very easy to do, isn't it? Like, it's easy. It's so easy to hide behind as you say, the keyboard for the. So he certainly wouldn't say that to you in the street.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it would. I don't know, but I doubt it. Yeah, but anyway, we posted that now. We posted that.
Well, I'm sure I'm sure my message was. But I think the point I was making, actually, in terms of the message, is we're talking about haters, right? And a lot of people will be scared of getting that kind of level of hate. But some of the best advice that I've seen for how people respond to haters is literally just respond with kindness.
Yeah,
and just go, hope you're having a great day. Like, lots of love to your, family and friends. What, because that completely de-escalates it.
Yeah, here's a strategy not many people would take on. Yeah, and I'm still midway through this strategy because it's not happened yet. But like, you see my hair, right? People kind of like mainly comment on my hair. They're like, "It'll get your hair cut when they're going to come and finish it off." All those jokes. One of the funniest things. I don't know if did you ever play a game, Tekken? You remember Tekken?
Yeah.
You remember Tekken? So I was reading it. Yeah, I was reading this one guy, and he commented, "What the Paul from Tekken is that haircut?" And I literally burst out laughing. You remember Paul from
No,
Tekken?
I don't remember what he looks like. No.
I used to have like the big tall hair, like a Jedward hairstyle.
Okay, yeah.
I just burst out laughing. I was thinking to myself, this is one of the best, comments. I mean, some people they get dead personal and a bit stupid.
Yeah.
But this guy was kind of funny. Yeah. So then I thought, you know what? I'm going to grow this beard.
Okay, yeah.
Because if people are going to start saying stuff about the hair, that's cool. But like I kind of, heard most of it except the Paul from Tekken one. That was funny. And I was waiting for someone to say, "Hey, you look like a goat." And then I was like, "Yeah, I'll take goat." Yeah, can't call yourself a hero. Can't call yourself the greatest of all time. But
Yeah.
other people call me that. But like, it's not happened yet. So like, maybe I need to post more videos or stuff with a beard out there.
I think you should get your best Tekken outfit on, and maybe go to the Tekken background and do some videos content there.
But I think we should talk about this because every business has got to do marketing if they want to stay around. All these statistics they put out there where businesses die off, blah, blah, blah. I mean, number one, some people, they think they're a business entrepreneur because they paid 13 quid to register a limited company. People think they're a business owner because they've got a limited company.
Yeah.
Obviously, that couldn't be further from the freaking truth.
Mm.
But the other thing is that, like, they say they fail because of the marketing. I never forget, Gary Vee years ago, someone asked him, what's the ROI on social media? And he replied, "What's the ROI on your mum?" Like, you just, how do you quantify ROI?
Yeah.
Then he kind of caught himself and he said, "I tell you what, the ROI is if you use the social media in 5 years, you'll still be in business." And then like these days, if you think about it, even you want to go to a freaking restaurant, if you ain't on Google, then you ain't being found unless
no.
some old school thing. Yeah.
It's
so
that thing, actually, talking about, people feel that they have got a limited business because they got a limited company. I think it's the same. People feel they've got a business if they've got a website. And I'm like, how many websites are there in the world? I mean,
website.
no one can find your website if you're not shouting about it anywhere. They're not just going to randomly come across it.
You're better off just have like all these social medias. Okay, having a website's good as well because at one point you've got to get, like the traffic that Facebook or Instagram or whoever owns, because basically they own the traffic, and then you've got to turn it into your traffic. Yeah. And have your brand on it. Yeah. So website's good, but like if I was to pick, say you can only have one, which obviously you don't, you can have both. But if I was to have a website or have a social media page, I pick a social media page all day long. Why? Because the traffic's already there. It's already set up. I can do it by myself on this device. I can do it from anywhere in the world. We can do podcasts like this, and now we can rip this up and put it into small videos, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, wherever we want to put it. Yeah, and I think we should spend just a little bit of time on on like, look, marketing your business is absolutely essential. We've taught so many people in the community to like you got to raise finance by marketing yourself, let people know what it is. But what is it that stops people marketing is all these fears that we've just been talking about. So one of the best films that I like that will help with this, and hence growing this, hence just I think I keep my hair because I think, whatever, I don't mind. I thought about shaving.
Is it a brand thing now? Yeah, it's like a personal brand thing.
Thinking, well, I don't know. It is what it is. I don't mind.
That's why I wear the hat, right?
Because that's your style, that's your status. Right now, this is my style. Maybe I shave it off. I don't know. In fact, put it in the comments. You want me to shave my head? Maybe we do something charity. But anyway, back to my point. My point is old school film. You must have seen it. 8 Mile.
I've not actually.
No, are you serious? With Eminem.
Yeah. I've not seen it.
Yeah, well, there's a scene at the beginning, you know, his whole song about choking, you know.
Right.
Yeah, and in the film, like he's goes into this rap battle, and this guy just rips him to shreds, and it's his turn, and he has nothing to say. He's like, oh, you know, he's done. And later in the film, he meets the guy again, and you can search the scene. I recommend everyone search the scene, and he actually says all of the stuff that this guy can say about him. That he, you know, he is a lives with his mom in a trailer park, and he's, you know, all of this and blah blah blah. Someone slept with his girlfriend, all of this stuff, because then the other person had nothing else left to say. Yeah, so I think, you know, when you can joke about yourself through your marketing,
Mm.
in a position where it's like, okay, whatever anyone's going to say is going to be a joke. I think that's where the game changes. You know, what advice would you have? You know, what's some of your biggest tips that will help people get over the fear, be more consistent being out there online?
I think firstly, just don't overthink it. And what I would also say is just do it. So set yourself a goal, for example. And actually, I've just set myself this goal to as well recently, because I felt I wasn't doing enough social media. It was a bit more sporadic, like on my personal channels. Set yourself a goal, for example, to say and hold yourself account. Just say, I'm going to repost for 100 days. Or, you know, if that's too much, say 50, you know, to make it a little bit more. And just because that will just really mean that you've got a kind of target to aim for. And then it just becomes about that consistency rather than overthinking it or going, I'm not feeling it today, or going, yeah, that post didn't get very many reach. This isn't working. So I'm just going to give up now. Because that's the other thing we didn't talk about is people giving up when they're not getting the results from it that they maybe expect. And
That's interesting, because what is the results? You know, is it reach? Is it views? Is it, you know, sponsor deals? I
I
suppose.
think you're completely right earlier when you said it is difficult to quantify, because you don't always necessarily see the results of social media like directly, because, you know, for example, you might, I don't know, get a client for whatever your business is, but they might not come through social media. They might, I don't know, phone you up, for example, but they've probably done so much research on you beforehand via social media. I can't remember the stat. I'm reading a really good book on marketing at the moment by Marcus Sheridan called They Ask, You Answer. And he talks about a stat now that 50 years ago, the buying decisions were made more during the sales process. So, you know, you didn't really know a company, you would just get to know them through the process of interacting with them, the sale. But he says that's completely changed and moved on its head now. Is that, I don't know the stat, but it's maybe like 70% of people have already made a buying decision before they've even contacted the company. And they've made that buying decision through all of the interaction and all of the touch points they would have made across all of your social media and online content. So it is very difficult to kind of quantify. And I'll give you another example, which is related to, you know, property. Talking about raising finance, we've got one investor at the moment who we're on to our second set of properties. They give us a fixed return, or we give them a fixed return based on a loan agreement, a fixed term loan agreement. And they said they were watching us for 1 year on social media before they got in contact.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I'm saying, is that the results might not come overnight. They won't come within a week. They won't come within 6 months. But you don't know what doors that is going to open, you know, over time. And
Yeah.
that is why it's consistency and viewing it as a long-term game and not a short-term game, because that is the other issue we've got really in general, isn't it? Because of social media, we're expecting everything to happen now.
Yeah, and it reminds me of a video we did, you know, a few years ago. We created a video and it actually got loads of traction because the title was "How Sex Made Me a Millionaire." Yeah, and I actually thought it was quality content. The problem was with the title,
Yeah.
because it was coming up in the wrong audience.
Yeah. I'm sure you got a lot of comments on that.
No comments, no,
Oh.
because they realized it weren't obviously what they thought they were looking for. I guess anyway. I guess so. So in that video though, I talked about, like, yeah, how sex made me a millionaire is because it ain't about the end goal. Like, what do you get into the opportunity for having sex with someone and be like, okay, let's get this done then. Like, I don't think that'd be weird if someone was like, okay, let's get over and done with then. So, like, if the end result is, clients, maybe it is growing your brand or whatever. But if you can't learn to enjoy the process, yeah, that's why in business, I think business is like intercourse. Yeah, it's actually the chase. It's the journey. It's the ins and outs of everything, and actually, the longer that journey goes on, sometimes, and actually most of the time, the better it is, the better the whole kind of experience is. Where people are so quick these days, they want to just get everything done, and it's like, if you cannot enjoy the journey for posting and marketing and actually doing your business, then I think you're already lost.
I mean, it's a great analogy. I've never heard that one before, but I like it.
No, I mean, it's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's true. We only use the truth on this channel. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's it. So anyway, we've got to wrap this up. We've got a mastermind that our guys go to 8 o'clock every Monday. So I got to ask you two more questions, really important. Yeah. So the first question is, let's say there are people out there, they want to market, they want to raise finance, they want to, maybe source like you, sell 40 million quid worth of deals. Yeah, what would your message be to this group of people? What would your message be to help them, get some traction out there?
In terms of marketing?
Just whatever the message is. Maybe they got some fear. Maybe they need to market. Maybe they need to, take a chance. Like, what would your advice be?
Yeah, I would say take the plunge, whether that's starting a new business or whether that is, starting to do social media content. Overthinking and procrastination won't get you anywhere, and you've got to start taking action. And that whole concept of start now, perfect later is so true. And just starting something and actually getting some progress and starting to get some traction, even if it is just, looking at sort of social media, even if it is just posting some slightly rubbish content to begin with, whilst you get used to it, that's better than not doing anything at all. And it's the same with business. It's like starting a business and starting that business idea that you've thought about for such a long time, without doing it, without actually starting it, without actually getting it out there in the world, it's not going to get you further, or even towards your kind of goals. So I would say just kind of just get going on it and stop thinking about it, but also focus on the things that are actually going to make a difference. So I see this a lot with new property people. It's the same with kind of new business people in some ways. They don't focus on the things that are actually going to move the needle. They probably focus on the slight fluffy stuff, the stuff that is probably more inside their comfort zone. So the websites, we were talking about it earlier, the websites, the limited companies, the business cards, that's not that's not going to actually make your business fly or make your property investment journey easier or accelerate it. So focus on the marketing. I mean, it really is all about marketing at the end of the day, in terms of like starting a new business, because without that having that marketing to drive your sales funnel and sales pipeline, nothing else is going to work. So I'd probably say if you're starting a business, focus on marketing, and if you're starting in property, focus on, on the building your personal brand on social media, and just get going, and don't worry if it's a bit shit at the beginning. Don't worry if you feel uncomfortable, because all of that is natural, and you're in training a little bit, but just don't be scared of what people are going to think, because to be honest, no one really cares. They generally don't.
That's it. You're right. They don't, but it's a psyche that people find difficult to get over. So I got one last question. I ask everyone this question. I like to get people's opinion on it. So before I ask you that question, thanks so much, Des, for coming on.
Thanks so much for having me.
Sharing all the insights, especially around marketing, which I think is a big thing for people. So I really appreciate that. So here's the last question. In our community, we have a saying. Yeah, this saying is that you've got to do the right thing for the right reason. Now, why is that?
Because I think it's all about integrity, and I think integrity is so crucial in business, and I think it's also so crucial to the human psyche that we are aligned to our own core and personal values. So that integrity means that if you're doing something that doesn't align with your values, over time, you'll start to feel misaligned, and then you'll start to probably feel that something is a little bit off. And that is why you should focus on doing the things that align with your personal values and feel right to you and that you are passionate about.
Very good. Thank you. I appreciate that. So once again, thanks for coming on. Thanks for everyone viewing this evening.
Thanks for having me.
You guys in the mastermind with one of our coaches who are taking care of that. So you heard it here, all the information here from Jez, and you got to remember, we always do the right thing for the right reason, because that is the only way we discover our true potential. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.